And we're live once again. How about some clapping? All right. So, this is Tool Changer stream number 5. I have learned some things since I was on stream yesterday. Oh, I am also sporting my Octoprint shirt that Sergio sent me for Christmas. He is in this chat. Thank you, Sergio. If you don't have an Octoprint shirt, you should buy one because it supports Gina and Octoprint, and that's important. So I've learned some things about Duet. I've learned some things about Tool Changer, and I have applied them, and I think I have it working correctly. So, hurry up, church starts at 15. So what I have deduced from this, so to be able to pick up one of these tools with the tool head, you have to be pretty precise. You have to get it just far enough to grab it off of the head and pull it off and then put it back. The magnets aren't super strong, and that the shaft is just a T-shaft that spins left or right to lock or unlock. So the first problem I had was putting them back. I wasn't getting them quite far enough onto the dock. So I went through and I adjusted all the docks all I could. And then I was able to pick them up off the dock, and I'll tell you what I changed in a second. But then the third one, the last tool head over here, I couldn't pick it up even after I made some changes. And I found out that there's a ring that is higher on two sides so that when you spin it, it engages it and locks it up. And that is pressed into a piece of steel, and it wasn't quite pressed all the way in. So it wasn't far enough into the piece. So when you went to grab it, no matter how far you went back, you couldn't lock it into place. So that was the problem on that tool head. But still, I wasn't picking them up and putting them back accurately every time. So, what is it? Make him choose. Oh, that's awful. Anyway, so what I found is that, so the maximum Y distance on this machine in the configuration of Duet is 243. Now, after some measuring and a lot of fiddling around, this one is off by about 2 millimeters across the board. Now, I think that is because of the Core XY design. If you don't have the belts perfectly tensioned, both of them to the same, you're going to have just a little bit of skew. Even with linear rails, and we're talking microscopic amounts, right? And these belts were tensioned from E3D, but you can definitely tell the top one is just a touch tighter than the bottom one. So rather than try to mess with tensioning those belts, I went around it in firmware. And ultimately, it might end up in just a little bit of skew when the plastic's being laid down to the bed, but not enough that you're probably going to be able to see it. We can address that later if that is a problem. My main goal right now is to pick up the tool heads. So what I did was I increased the maximum size for Y in the firmware to 245. So this tool over here, to pick it up, you're setting it about a 242, and you can pick it up. This tool over here, you're setting it about 244, so you can pick it up. So, and those aren't exact measurements. I could fine tune them a little bit more to get them even more precise, but that will allow it to pick them up. So coming from this direction to here, skew is just ever so slightly like this, as far as the X gantry picking up those tools. And that's what I figured out to try to make it work. I am using lock and unlock the same settings for all of the tool heads. That seems to be okay. I made some edits in the firmware files to allow for this larger Y, but I think we've got it figured out. So, the main goal is to tie up those cables. I'm actually going to pull more cables out while it's printing. I do not have it. I'm sporting Octoprint today. I'm helping our community grow by sporting Octoprint. I'm so smart. No, there's just a lot of fiddling. So, we're continuing on. So we can, I've got all of those configured so they will dock. Well, it worked yesterday as of about 8 o'clock in the evening. So you know that now that I'm streaming and I'm going to show you it working, that it will fail. So let's start there. Let's see if we start with failure. So what E3D does is they have you manually run around. And oh, I want to mention this as well. These changes that I made are not apparent until you are allowing the printer to move great distances. So I can manually jog in the GUI over to tool 3 where it's supposed to be at 242.5 and pick it up and jog back and put it down, no problem. But if I try to go pick up 0 and then come back and try to pick up 3, it'll fail unless I add that bit of skew. So the skew definitely has to do with feed rate. There's a couple different things going on causing that skew, causing it to have a bit of inaccuracy while it's moving. So there might be more than just those factors involved here, like speed and, you know, motor currents and things like that. But that's all for, you know, many hours of tweaking and such. So you don't want to see my coffee. I haven't had near as much coffee as I should have had today. So where we left off, we are really crooked. So there's that. So we are on, if you're following along from home, we're on 10, and we just completed all of the manual docking to make sure the positions are going to work for the tool heads. We have added lubricant to the dock and the pickup, and now E3D has given you a G code called tool change test that will go through, bring the bed down a bit, pick up every tool, put every tool back, and then complete. So now this is where we're going to see if we can repeat this today, if it's still working like I expected it to. And just to be super sure, I don't remember if I turned this on today or yesterday, but I'm going to cycle it. I was supposed to start at 1, but I jumped on a couple minutes early. I have found sensorless homing also plays a role in this for the docking mechanism. Not the sensorless homing really doesn't for the dock, but well, I guess it actually might. But sensorless homing plays a part of this because if you fail once picking up a tool and you stifle the machine at all, then your home position is completely lost and it has no idea where it's going. So you kind of have to start from scratch if you fail. So we are up. We are going to go to G-code and we're going to run this test tool change, and fingers crossed, it's going to work. And, you know, how is everyone? How are things going? Happy Sunday. I just got off the phone with Bennett, 3D Maker Kid, trying to work on his CR10 a little bit. We're getting there. I think we will print today. I know that's kind of optimistic, but I think we'll print today. Tool 1 has been picked up successfully, and it's picked up well. Tool 2 picked up successfully. Tool 3 picked up successfully. Tool 4 is up. And we're done. Yeah, definitely clapping for that. It did it.
You got this, boo-boo.
Neil, thank you very much for the 2, and the text-to-speech is awesome. I think it's repeating a script over and over to make sure that Z is out of the way. That's why it's Zing every time. So we have a few more things we have to do. We have to heat up all the hot ends. We have to make sure the hot end fans are working. We got all that cabled correctly. And I have to go through and re-torque all of the nozzles. But then we should be ready to test print. So we got a few more things to do, but we should be close. Printer is moving way farther than it should be, and all X and Y on all X and Y moves. Any ideas? So Ben is trying to go to 2209s. What is your what is your micro stepping setting? Did you leave it at 16 in configuration_ADV? Let's start there. Hopefully your old drivers were also set to 16. I have not seen any tool changer videos. I got on and harassed Joe while he was building his a bit, but that's the only tool changer stuff I've seen. Jumpers on the board he doesn't need. That might be, Ryan. You might be right. We'll see what he comes back with. Okay, so we have tested. We're good. Now we are going to test all the hot end fans. So I'm just going to turn them on. T0. And let's see, let's make sure all the fans spin up. I don't know that we'll see a 4-color benchy. We will see a benchy. They give you a test G code from Pathio to run, and so I'm going to start there. We'll see what it does. So that fan works. Let's switch to...
You got this, Chris.
Wayne, thank you very much for the encouragement and the 3. I appreciate that. Yes, that's micro-stepping mode, 16, 16, 16, so that's good. I do not have a status on Pathio, Liddy. I'm not quite sure where they were at. I was using it a couple of months ago when they first brought it out. I don't know what it's doing currently. I will look into that, though, and try to get you some more information. Yes, the tool changer has a glass bed on it. That's what they recommend. Okay, so that fan works. So Bennett, just confirm that you don't have any jumpers underneath those drivers. Just the only jumper you should have is that red UART jumper. I'm hoping that the drivers that you got are configured for UART with the solder pads. I'm guessing they would be, but... So now I'm going to heat these up to like 280. Fans are working, so that's good. Let's shift that one back to standby. And we're going to let these heat up. I'm going to pull them off individually, and we're going to torque all the nozzles down. So the probabilities of Chris getting burned today, quite high, quite high. Okay, so the 2209s from Big Tree Tech, so those should be UART just fine. Hey, Red Light Mike, what's up? Chris Lane is here. What is up? That soldering those small pads, ridiculous. I do not have the vision nor the tools to solder some of those because they're so small. All right. I can smell the new heating right off all these hot ends. Robbie Mack is here. What's up? Tyler, hello. How are you? It's coming very, very soon. So I heard end of January. Somebody yesterday said March is when they pushed it back to. Coffee with the tool changer would be awesome.
Fun for Chris burn protection.
Thank you. You know, I will put that with the Chris Burn Protection Fund, the $2. I appreciate that. All right. See that silicone sock smoke? We'll let it get just a little bit hotter. A 0.1 solder tip? Wow. You'd need it though for console. Okay, there are no jumpers under the driver. But it's moving a lot more than... Bennett, erase EEPROM. Oh, my catch tool. I should be using that. You're right. It's right back here. This one is the Olsen Ruby torque tool. It's just real handy to have around on my table here. Hot ends are still hot. Thermodynamics did not change overnight. What am I trying to do? I'm torquing. So on new hot ends, because I just assembled these the other day, on new hot ends, you really want to heat them up and torque that nozzle one more time. And that's what I'm going through and doing. Because I just put them together finger tight, just so the heatsink wouldn't turn anymore. So you definitely want to go back and torque these. connect UART pins or not? I don't know. Greetings from the land of fire. What's up, Teresa? Bit warm today, was it? Teresa, if you don't know Teresa, she is one of our Australian friends. All right. How much torque do you do? I'm not exactly sure what the number is on that. These are SLS printed ones that the Olsen Ruby guys give out. I'm not exactly sure what the inch pounds or Newton pounds or whatever it would be. Newton meters, you know, fancy measuring stuff. But you are supposed to torque them to a specification. We were talking the other day, Teresa, that's why I made you a mod. It's because you said you were a professional mod. And you are a mod on a lot of different channels, so I figured, hey, I'll just go with what everybody else is doing. What's up, Pete C? Steven the Lightspeed is here. 1.5 nanometers. Coming in with the numbers. Thank you, sir. Oh, I forgot my sock. Don't go anywhere without your sock. For your safety. Why are the silicone socks so important? I guess that's a good question. It's not so much that they are so important, but one, they keep the block clean, and if you have a disaster happen, like you get, you know, something runs away and you end up with this massive blob, if you have the sock on, sometimes that will save you because you can pull that sock off, and then that will kind of bring the rest of the filament because nothing really sticks to that silicone very well. So that is an advantage of having a sock. The main advantage of having a sock, E3D usually runs a 30-watt heater, and without the sock, depending on your part fan configuration, it will cause you, the part fan will cause you thermal runaway. The sock will insulate that. Old school, you know, all the old school Hotends you'd see, like, what am I looking for? Fiberglass tape with Captain wrapped around it to help insulate the block to keep the heat in. So the sock is doing the same thing. It's just a much nicer way of doing it. So it can definitely help keep your heat stable. Not completely necessary, but I think it's a nice feature that only costs a couple bucks. Only costs a couple bucks. Yeah, 50-watt heater, you're probably not going to worry so much. Okay, so we're all torqued up. Hopefully everyone else is all torqued up. Let's turn those off. Let's make sure the heat bed works. I haven't done that yet. Let's spin that up to 60 or so. That heat bed should heat instantaneously. So it's 21 right now. It's at 45. It It is an AC heat bed. And it's at 60. So that was probably right around a minute from 20 to 60, if even a minute. So it works. Okay, and now we are going to do a bed level. So let's go home just for fun. You absolutely can strip the thread in the heater block. I have done that a time or two, so don't get crazy with it. That was around 20 seconds? Okay, there you go. All right, now we're going to do the auto level. What's up, Ray? Clint, hopefully we have less problems today. So far, so good today. See you later, Neil. It just uses a micro switch. It's just a micro switch that has a little rubber end on the switch part. That's all it uses. Would you like to see what the map looks like? Are you interested in that? There's our map. We're definitely higher in the back towards the lead screw than we are in the front. But we're not very far off. And it's a kind of a nice curve. We only have one little dip right there. So that's not bad. Okay, we have leveled. Okay, so what's next? We are done with section 10, commissioning. Section 11 is first print. This guide is written under the assumption that you're using PLA. So we're going to do they give me, I think there's a code, there's a file on here. So we're going to kick on heater 1. We need to find some filament. I was thinking about filament and spools and size and how large this thing is. Probably like filamentum spools, like 750, 500 gram spools would probably work better. Yeah, see, Bennett, that that almost sounds like it's set to, 8 times stepping versus 16 stepping. Just put a rep box next to it. That's not a bad idea. If you do a 30 before your 29, nice. Okay. So I've got some samples on some mini spools over here. And that's what I was going to intend on using. This is probably enough blue to make a benchy. Hank has sensed something out the front window, I hear. I'm going to spin this around just for a moment so that I can load filament in it. That is probably way too tight for 175. I used ASA for my printed parts. ASA does shrink just a bit. I might need to drill it out. That filament probably isn't 100% accurate 175. Of course. I wouldn't want to have to load and unload these very often. Let's see if we can let the extruder do the rest of the work. I hand spooled this one, so it's going to get a little crazy on here, I can already tell. Because it wants to come unspooled. Be really off? They could be. What does, if you do M503, what does M92 bring back? It's true, there is a lot of drag on the filament. The shrinkage of the parts be off. Well, the dock is actually metal. So the parts that touch each other on the dock are magnetic. These are just for the cable holders. The printed parts are just for the cable holders in the tube. Good thought, though. So that's not it. Those are the correct parameters. I will try it. It's got to be something with that driver, man. Why is a 2208 spinning twice as much as it should? Or 2209? The feed rate on the manual extruding is impressive. Steven, I think it's a stock CR10, and we had it working with 2208s. I'm guessing they're just stock 1.8s. We have extruded some plastic. We're getting further and further. It's so amazing. I will line up the camera and everything for you all as soon as I get some more things set up here. Let's clean up a bit. That filament spool is wrapped super tight. It's a sample that I re-wrapped by hand, so it's not the best job ever. So we're going to take a $3,800 tool changing machine that currently has print heads, and we're going to use the adhesion properties of this glue stick to be successful. Just doesn't seem right, does it? What's up, Gusner? Yeah, so he's cleared EEPROM. He showed us the steps, and they all look right. Let's see what it does. Well, they gave me a G-code file for a benchy, and there might be something wrong with their G-code file. Let's start over here. It didn't pick up a tool or anything. Alright, hold on. I was expecting this to be fully automated here for me, since they provided me the G-code. I really don't want to have to slice a file for the tool changer. So let's do this. It didn't. I'm gonna take a look at this G code. That's first thing I need to do. Come on. The viewer on the duet board does not care for this large file. Come on. I've crippled the duet board trying to look at that file. What's up, Mad Mike? Okay, let's see what's in their G-code file here. So it says that it's going to level it does not say it homes, it says it levels. And it says that it selects tool T0. But that does not seem to be the case. How does this machine compare to the Gander 3? That is a great question, Scott. And I'm not sure. Pathio, supposedly. It doesn't have 3 in the name. So I'm not sure what's wrong with my G code here, but it's supposed to be doing. Because if I slice one of these for a tool changer, I'm going to be guessing. Well, now it worked that time. I blame Duet. Might be just a touch close to the bed. You should see the current levels, the current values that that they have set on this thing. They're really, really high. It does kind of sound like a dial-up modem, and it's all that extruder driver. The pizza printer. You're gonna build one for 25 bucks. What speed is it printing at? It's giving, so requested speed is 40 millimeters a second. And then it's going to give me top speeds, but that's during retraction, I'm guessing. Was a safety cover. Yeah, it's going to require quite a bit more work to do multicolor prints. Scott, so what do you slice with? Yeah, the estimates for speed and duet are not the most accurate. But the fans are working, the part fan's working. It did pick up the tool, and it is printing with it. So we're making progress. It's going to be kind of hard to tell here for a minute. Yes, it is extruding and printing. Okay. Well, that's good news for me because that's what I slice with. So I got to work on that. I don't know. This is their G code. I could get back in there and look, but I'm guessing it's probably 0.2. Thoughts on micro switch for bed leveling? It works just as good as anything else for the most part. I mean, they're pretty accurate. The tool changer has the advantage that it doesn't always have a tool on it, so you can get that close to use the switch. So, this thing's pretty sturdy, so you're not going to have a lot of leveling issues anyway. So just using the bed leveling as a touch-up with that micro switch, I think it's just fine. I'm 3D printing a Benchy on the tool changer. That's totally different than regular Benchy 3D printing. Prusa Slicer is a Cura killer? I don't know. Cura is really good. If you haven't checked out Cura 4.4, go and just look at all the different options and things you can do. I'm not a Cura fan, but as long as Ultimaker keeps up their ecosystem, Cura's not going anywhere. Yes, but definitely faster than VL Touch and probably more accurate. So it's only a 3D printer on the weekends. How many Benchies have I printed? 1,000 or better. Still using Slick 3R on a Raspberry Pi? Yeah, I remember when that was an option. I haven't used it in a long time. It's probably faster than a VL Touch, I think is what he was getting at. You don't have to deploy and all that jazz. It's not going to change head for colors or anything on this print. We have to work into that. How many have I printed this year? This is my first one. Hey, this is my first Benchy of 2020. How about that? I just realized it. Pin to probe with temp support is not supported as of yet that I know of. I've printed every day this year so far on multiple machines, but this is definitely the first Benchy. Let's just see. I don't have the Benchy files downloaded to this computer? What is wrong with me? Happy binge day. Yeah, we could do a wooden frame. That'd be pretty awesome. Last Benchy? Yeah. SK Go was my last Benchy. It's going okay. There's still some... I'm optimistic, but I still do have some concerns about how it does tool changes and things. I have a lot of learning left to go, but we'll get there. It is printing though, so that's good. Well, I mean, a regular inductive probe just has 3 wires. You've got a signal wire, positive and negative. So all you have to do to connect it to something like a channel, you have 3 in-stop pins. You have a 5 volt, a negative, and a signal. So you just hook them up accordingly, and it will work just like a switch. The rest of it's done in firmware. I would just use any regular 5 volt inductive probe, Lenny. I mean, you can get them for $3. That's what I use on everything, and they work just fine. I like the web interface. I mean, there's, it's just I like it. It's pretty intuitive. but it's just not... I prefer the Marlin. Yeah, I prefer looking around in Marlin and doing it that way. If you're going through a configuration or something like that, I think it looks great. I think it works, but it's personal preference, right? If you were doing it for the first time, it's probably a great interface, if you know the answers to those questions that it's asking you. Yeah, Mitch, there was a learning curve for me there as well. What I should be doing is straightening up all these wires. The print looks nice. The Prusa Pinda probe in the States, if you're in the US, you can get them at printed solid. Right on, Derek. Thanks for stopping in. Get some sleep. Yeah. This is going to be one of those machines, I got to find a permanent spot for it and just, tweak it setting there and not mess with it after I get it all dialed in. I can see this thing, running a multi-hour print and it running over here and dropping one of these tool heads. I can see that happening right now. They are TMC 2660 drivers on a Duet 2. You can tell they're running at high amounts of current because the motors are very warm. $3,800 benchy, exactly. But we'll spread it out over, like 1,000 benchies, and they'll only cost, it will drive the cost down the more benchies I make, so I got to get on that. But then we got to factor in filament, so I'll have to get the calculator out. I have heard of Voron 2. I don't know anything about it, but I have heard that name. I have not tried the nozzle stall feature yet, but I'm going to get to that. I do want to check that out. That's a good idea, Scott. I didn't even think about that. But if you just have it, dump it wherever. I hope to make, after I get all the kinks worked out and I've got a configuration I enjoy, I hope to start creating some different tool heads for it. Yeah, Mitch, if you're using VS Code, I've got a video out there for that, and it will pull in all the libraries necessary for you, so you don't have to mess with it. Cheap and good. Should we talk about the power of 3 real quick? So you can have it fast, you can have it cheap, or you can have it good, but you have to pick 2. And that applies here. It applies everywhere in life. So pick 2. Which ones do you want? You said you wanted cheap and good. Then go to AliExpress. They will get you a $3 inductive 5-volt probe, but it's going to take a couple of weeks depending on where you are. Almost always. I print with zhop a lot. This file was not generated by me. This is the file that E3D generated. I gotta look into that whole tool head detector thing. Cheap and good? Excellent, Mike. I'm cheap and decent, but I'm definitely not fast. I don't know. I don't know how much interest there are in making tool change machines like this. There were a lot of different custom configurations at ERF this year, and I'm sure that there will be even more at MRF. So what the community does with this type of thing is what I'm mostly interested in. Again, the main reason why I was interested in this whole thing, laying out this kind of money and taking the time to put it together, is for the creation of different tool heads. And that's what I'm really interested to see where we go and what I can create to help that along. Because if I were to want to do something custom with a 3D printer design, that type of linear motion machine, I would have to start from scratch and build jigs and adapt it to whatever printer my test printer. I would have to design it all around those parts. Well, this I don't have to. I just have to design something to fit on this tool plate, or whatever tool plate I want to come up with, but lightly like this configuration, and then I can start using it. So, by all rights, that should save a whole lot of time. The very first thing I want to do, though, is get one of these designed up and mocked up for the Mosquito, because one of these heads should definitely be a Mosquito hot end. The real pin, there's only a couple places you can get a real pin to probe. Prusa, Printed Solid does have them. I'm not sure who else offers them. Yeah, Murph's gonna be awesome. Or am I gonna send it to Norway? Well, yeah, the shipping is so high. Yep, I like that they're pushing in a standard direction. That's helpful for all of us. Chimera, absolutely. I think I will go with the full tool change Chimera kit thing just to check it out. I mean, I've got a Chimera that I could adapt to one of these, but I definitely want to see what their kit's like so I can show you all. Copperhead, when a Copperhead shows up, absolutely. Copperhead's good because it has a pretty similar setup for its heatsink, if you want to use its heatsink. You don't have to the V6. So these are actually screw top mounts on the default tool carriage. So that should be a pretty easy one to put on there. Palette 2, minimum U2 on each extruder. Now that's a nightmare. That's what keeps me awake at night, is scenarios like that. Cake icer, foam vinyl cutter. I had all kinds of good ones. Peanut butter and jelly sandwich maker. We ran down the pizza thing, but now I've done canned cheese, so now I need a can for cheese and maybe something that lays down. It can actually pick up the crackers out of the package and lay them down. All that good stuff. Yeah, they are a bit whiny for a 2660. This is the loudest duet board that I've ever heard, but it's because the current is set so high. It's really driving those motors, and I don't know if that's absolutely necessary. I would have to tune it quite a bit to tell you if it was necessary. But yes, the drivers are definitely running high power. I can tell you what those are if I could find my window. See, the X and Y motors are running at 2 amp. The Z motor is running at 1.3. And well, now it says here that the Extruder 0 is running at 400 milliamp, but all the other ones are setting at 1680, the ones that are not in use. Oh. No, that's right. Yep, 1680. So, kind of high. You're getting a lot of squeal out of the motor. What's the temp like? It's pretty warm. You don't want to hold your finger on it too long. What's up, Andy? Thanks for joining the stream. Murph is in Goshen, Indiana, yes. Rubber dampening bumpers? That would be nice. That's a good idea. We could do that. Yeah, remote direct drive, all of the tool heads, that would be pretty sweet. Individual one, what is up? Who's your close shout out? Can you do ABS? You can do small ABS prints, but you're going to need a cover and a hat if you want to do anything very, very large. What's the Chicago? O'Hare is the closest international airports. It is a 2-hour drive. What's the most embarrassing thing? I've never really been embarrassed on a stream. I'm not easily embarrassed. When the printer snapped and tried to hit me in the face, that was, I wouldn't say that was embarrassing, but it was surprising. Chris Robo, thank you, sir. Thanks for joining the stream. Tim Roberts, what is up? Having a really hard time. There's a couple people in here that are having a really hard time flashing the 1.3 board. What issue are you having? Welcome to the SKR 1.3 hotline. How may I help you? What about my enclosure video? The enclosure video is coming together. I think I'm done with all of the time lapses and all the prints. Now I just gotta throw the video together. It's not quiet. 296. Can we break 300? I don't think Chris's Basement live stream has ever broken 300. So if we do that today, that will be a first. I have not done any... I only know about the SKR-14 from what people have told me in these chats over this week, or 2 weeks now. There are some on the way to me, so we will be checking those out soon. I hear they have extra pins available, and I like to see that. So, 5160s. No, I have not checked out. I have some 5160s. I have not tried them. They are kind of overkill for anything that I would do. The only thing that I would really gravitate towards a 5160 is if I jumped up to NEMA 23. It's just, that's a lot of driver for what we're doing. Have to make some accounts. Yeah, keep an eye on it for me, Sergio. We'll see if we actually hit it today. Just decided to force update. Ah, don't you love that? Upload goes fine. Cursor file updates, but no printer attached is what I get. No printer attached. But the upload goes fine. So what's it talking about? No printer attached. Are you seeing that on the screen? Do you have a touch screen or something? I'm having, I think our extruder, our filament is caught up with us here. I usually don't like to move printers while they're printing, but hey. I have no idea what the condition of this filament is. It's almost seems like the hot end's just a little bit too hot. So it is definitely way under extruding. Almost 300. That's awesome. Unfortunately, I think you're getting ready to watch a fail. $303. Nice. Congratulations, everybody. That's the first time we've ever done that. We've ever broke 300. Nice work. Nice work. I don't know if it doesn't like that file, if it doesn't like that filament, or we have some heat creep. Let's control it with legs. It's still trying to crank some filament out there, but it's not enough to complete the print. So let's stop it. I really hate to do this.
Congratulations on your 300 plus viewers.
Thank you very much, Bryce, for the $2. We are printing. But it's just spitting filament on top of it right now. So what's the proper way to stop G-code in here? Oh, job status. Boy, it's stuck on there, I can tell you that. So let's see what's going on here. Yep.
A penny a year.
A penny of your thing. Thank you, Dave. Appreciate that. Yeah, it chewed a hole right in it. But again, I'm not sure what kind of filament this is. Should we attempt something a little more accurate, just to be sure? I want to say the filament got just a bit oversized, because as you're pulling it back through, it's way harder than it should be. And we fed it in there by hand. You saw me do it. So now we're through the oversized part because it's easier. Yep, there it is right there. Well, bummer. What have I been saving this sample all this time for? So I guess this can go in the garbage. What do we got that's super accurate? We did purple last time, I think. How about red? Let's see. Let's just feed this through here. See what results we get. So this feeds in a lot nicer. I think we stalled the filament out. I don't know that these large spools, though, are going to set well on these printed spool holder deals. What time is it? Okay. Let's see. Oh, all you're seeing is reflection.
Help pay for your time entertaining all of us.
Gadget Angel, thank you very much for the 10. It is a pleasure to entertain all of you. 3:15 Eastern, thank you. Am I dropping frames? It says I have dropped 0.1% of my frames. They're trying to make the whole thing contained in this one box. That's why they have the goofy path. That might need to be changed up. As you probably know, I try to use it as they intend the first time, and then go from there. But sometimes you don't even make it through that far. Steve 3D Made, what's up? I'm lagging sound. That extruder is just a bit tight as well. Thank you for the confirmation. That is a lot of tube to go through. It's feeding it down into a plastic piece that makes the arc go like this. So if you flipped it over, you would actually be in a U. Okay. Is this cool enough to remove yet? This bed stays hot a long time. The quality's okay though. You can see some seams. It put the seams in a interesting location. Before I can do multi-print, I still have to figure out what I'm going to do for a brush, because it's going to want to clean it. Quality compared to the SK Go. This is kind of high end. Let's let it do its thing here. Yes, with the price to follow. Yeah, that's kind of that's a lot of money for a trip to Murph. The accessibility on the extruders, so far, they're kind of a pain. I definitely wouldn't want to like have this on a lower shelf and try to crouch down and feed all of these things. Lucky, I have played the drums over the years, yes. Those are my casualty cymbals, the ones that got giant cracks or pieces out of them. On top of the FT6 is a great place. This thing weighs a ton. I thought about just clearing out this corner over here. I'll move the Prusa over to there somehow. And then putting it right there so it'd be in all the videos, but I don't know if that's even deep enough to hold it. Just barely. I don't know. We'll see where it ends up landing. Matt UK, we'll see you later. You can look at that for a moment if you'd like. Holy! The number says we're at 324. Sunday must be a great day for people to watch streams. It's not... I'd say it's like quieter than an Ender 3. The microphone is compressing the noise, so it's going to, anytime that you're going to hear it, it's going to be trying to bring that noise up a bit. But it's pretty loud. It's a lot louder than I would expect 2660s to be. There is no FKB today, but there will be one next week. The 12th is when we start back. Yeah, no, it is. Prusas are silent compared to this. Nice, thank you, Don. Oh, that sucks, man. Get in there and warm up. I got one color working. And I got the tool changing issue sorted out, so I'm getting there. Yeah, they do get hot. Have you tested like turning them down? Have you brought them down just to see what you can get away with? Yeah, I'm definitely going to test with it. Just curious if anybody's had any luck with numbers. The Duet says it's 40 millimeters a second, but it seems much higher than that. You run them at 16 with no issues? Alright. I don't know what the official release version and everything is going to cost. Mine cost $3,800 shipped. We'll have to test it. It's fast. It'd be nice if this was clear tube, you could see the filament condition a little better. Yeah, the path is quite long, but I'm guessing they've run them up so high to as by default to try to get you around any issues you might have right out of the box. I don't know. Sean Gould, that's a great idea. They provide that file in multicolor format, so I will get one printed. They just flat out all the steppers from the box. Yeah, those clips are a little different than what I've seen before. They're kind of nice for glass. You can get clear Bowden tube. It's kind of hard to find, though, especially stuff that's quality. Linear advance and long retractions. That'll do it. How much better is high one versus a rod setup? Well, that's a conversation that we have quite often. Unfortunately, it depends. The rails are going to require you to be constrained. So you're going to have a lot more accuracy in your build if you want to go with rails. Tolerance is going to have to be tighter. It's going to have to be built just better to use rails effectively. With rods and bearings, you're going to have a lot more leeway there. Plus, you have costs to consider. And there's all different types of rails. Some of the Chinese rails now are pretty nice, though. So all of that has to factor in. Personally, with a 3D printer, how good are you going to get it? You can get them really, really good. How good do you need it? That's a whole other question. So, on most hobby-based 3D printers of reasonable size, now when you get larger, it's going to change, of course. Reasonable size, there's really nothing wrong with rods and bearings. They just work and they're pretty affordable. Bad filament always makes things worse. That's true. I've only tried the Capricorn stuff a little bit. I need to get a couple of spools and run it through some paces. If I want super accurate stuff right now, I just grab... I'm still going to Prusament because I know it is accurate. I have tested it a lot. But my Go has replicas. These are high-wind rails. No problem. See you later, Freddy. Absolutely. I mean, the Chinese rails, after you get some decent grease on them and get them running, they're usually fine and they're a lot more affordable. Can you speed the printer up? I probably could. Again, not so familiar with... Oh, there is a speed factor. It did actually speed it up. Yep, there's just no QC. With the stuff from China, you might as well just plan on buying twice as many. So hopefully they're a lot cheaper. A screen on the Duet. There's no cover on it yet. There's actually a piece of acrylic to go over the back, if that's what you mean. Nice, with Highlands, sweet. Oh, touchscreen. No.
What's the airspeed velocity of an unladen swallow winking face grinning face with big eyes grinning face winking face?
I love that it reads the faces. Thank you very much for the 5, Andy. It's much appreciated, and I always like the text-to-speech. Masumi, I buy a lot of their stuff, but man, you pay for it. But they are pretty nice. He's asking about panel do. No, I have never had a panel do for any of my Duet boards. I just don't know that I would use it. They're nice. I've used Walters once or twice, but I just don't know that I'd use it. Well, that's the whole point. And you know, I get there are streamers out there that have thousands of people watching, and they can't go through the whole chat. But that's kind of, to me, that's the whole point of streaming, is so that I can chat with you all while we do this stuff. MGT. I'll have to write that down. I don't know that brand. Maybe I've run across it before, but. $3.50. YouTube's gonna love me. So how far did we make it? Well, we made it all the way for the deck to complete and everything last time. So we got a little ways to go before to see if we run into any issues. AMT, okay. When the normal FKB time starts? Yeah, it might. We got, what, 30 minutes left? I'm just glad that that it is printing, and next we'll have to work on multicolor printing. I downloaded Benchy files, but I don't know where they went. Oh, it's got an underscore on it. Tricky Benchy. What do you think is the best online 3D printer monitoring? Something like Octoprint. You mean like doing it from anywhere in the world? I'm guessing. Octoprint is still my favorite. There's a handful out there, you know, Astroprint, stuff like that. But Octoprint is still my fave. And you can use a handful of different plugins to view it anywhere in the world. Octo Anywhere, I believe, is one of them. I think you can still do one printer for free with that. I don't remember. It's a cloud service. And then you could also set up a... Well, if you don't want to use security, you could just punch a giant hole in your firewall and access it that way. Don't do that unless you know what you're doing. Or just don't do it at all. And then you could also... you could set up a VPN. And that would get you a private network that you could access safely. Octoprint Anywhere is closing up. Okay. Octopod app. It is an E3D tool changer. If you want more info on it, there is a Nightbot coming through with a link that you can check that out. There is auto bed leveling. It has a mini switch, micro switch to do that. Nice. Yeah, if you're real savvy, you could make a virtual LAN and divide it up that way. Yes, so when you're slicing multi, you'll have settings for each tool head. It'll just treat them all as separate extruders, tool heads, and then you can divide it up like that. It gets kind of unwieldy, actually, but it's cool. It's a little loud. It's a little louder than I thought it would be. Yeah, so that's what I do. I go the ghetto method, in my opinion, Daniel. I have Octoprint set up everywhere, but it has no access to the internet. And then my computer that I use most of the time, I use VNC on it. So I just, from my phone, I just pull up VNC and check out Octoprint. Oh, spaghetti. It's merging into Spaghetti Detective. Interesting. Andy, that's a good question. I'm not sure if it's set up. Duet does allow you to have that option. I don't know if it's currently enabled, but I will be sure to test that at some point. Most of my printers have UPS on them. I tried, but, you know, it's always that one that I just set up for a test that fails, right? Yeah, the tool changer is a little high end for most hobbyists. I would say you are correct. But it's just so cool. It's not the loudest printer I've ever worked with. i3 Mega S is way louder than this thing. There is no power panic module, but it's easy to do. Okay. I have tried Spaghetti Detective. Steven, you are a Patreon supporter of mine. If you go back, I did a video for the Patreons on it quite a while back, so you could go check that out. It sounds funny, but if there's actual spaghetti, it works great. So if it sees the loose stuff floating around, it will stop it really fast. The part that it can't do, or at least it couldn't when I tested it, is when the model... in that video, I actually manually unstick the model from the plate and just let it sit there. So if you unstick it and the hot end just keeps pushing it around, it has no idea that it's doing that. It wasn't until I nudged it off to the side and let it start making spaghetti that it worked. So maybe they've come up with a fix for that. But it is impressive to me that it actually worked at all. So... this one, I have not added anything on there. They were already pretty well lubricated, but I might throw some more on there. That's a good idea. It's definitely motor noise that you're hearing, but yeah, that can't hurt anything. Okay. Hardman, I am a married man, and I just the way that I got to buy this was I can't limit anything that she buys from now on. So it could get expensive, but she won't make it hurt too much. It'll be okay. Still, it is really cool. Yeah, I saw that in there, and I haven't used Duet in a while, but I'm definitely getting more familiar with it just from the day that I have been using it. Yeah, I saw that you could adjust a lot of different stuff in there, so I'll definitely have to play around with some different things. What is my day job? I am a mainframe system programmer. I think there's something loose in that extruder. Maybe I didn't get something seated quite right. Because it started under extrusion again. Yep, it's clicking. Well, that is a bummer. Andy, as of right now, you cannot change it to Marlin yet. That's coming, I hope. Whatever E3D gave me, let's see what it says it is. I am on 2.02. Wi-Fi is 123. Web interface is 1226. I never did Vax VMS. We did have one when I first started in my current job, but I never had anything to do with it. Alright. Nice. It prints in the air, yes. It is definitely doing the same thing that the last one did. So that's probably heat creep, but not uncommon actually with a all metal hot end and PLA. Sorry to say. So that one will be canceled. Well, we tried. We attempted. We got 2 half benchies. Does that make a whole benchy? Is that how it works? Is that how the rules work? I say no, but what do I know about anything? Okay, so we have had 5 streams building and setting up the tool changer. It has been an adventure to say the least. We're not printing in multicolor yet. We are kind of like 3D printing. But it seems like there's definitely some more kinks to work out, and there will be a lot further work to do. So what I'm going to plan on doing is I have to get this off of my table so that I can make some more videos. 2 rowboats, there you go. Post it on Twitter. That's a pretty good idea, Steven. What's heat creep? So that's when so there's a cold side and a hot side to a hot end. That's when you start heating up the cold side and the filament starts turning into a liquid or getting melty before it's time, and that will cause it to jam in the throat. I'm gonna mess around with it. I'm gonna start slicing my own files and figuring some things out. I'm going to switch to another tool head and try to run it and see what it does. But I think we'll have to, in this setup with this amount of drag, this much Bowden tube, I think we're going to have to maybe season that hot end a bit. No, I won't put this one away and forget it. I might work on it. I might take a break, but heat creep on Chimera. Yeah, that's no good. It's not heat creep, I'm convinced. Well, we'll see. I have had heat creep on a V6 hot end before, but never using their fan. So, okay. You could use a PTFE line in hot end if you'd like. You just have to swap it out. I think this is where we're going to leave this. Maybe we'll do. So I've been asked if we could do another video on the SK Go where we had it printing, because I ended up breaking that one out into 2 streams, and I wasn't printing. It was actually 3 streams because I wasn't printing until Fun in the Country Basement that day. So people have asked if we could do another stream on the SK Go. Also, I think we definitely have to have a stream of this printer printing multicolor. We're going to have to do that. So maybe we'll just have an all printing stream for these 2 machines together and see how that goes. You won't be able to see me. It'll just be me standing behind these 2 printers. Bennett, yeah, we can jump on a call. I'm not sure what's going on with it. You've had the motors run too hot and melt in the bone too? Well, that might be one of the first things that I try then. I am using a sock. You are very welcome for the videos. And this is the stock file that they gave me, so retraction might be way too high. We'll see. All good suggestions. Ooh, water-cooled hot ends. Okay, so that's where we're going to leave it. Thank you for everybody that showed up today. This has been the biggest stream that I've ever had. I appreciate that. Thank you. Thanks for all the super chat tips. You know that I really appreciate that. All of you that support me in any way, that just makes this even better than it already is. And I can't do that without all of you. I hope you enjoyed this Tool Changer series. This 5th video will be the last one officially, but we will have another one where we're going to do a multicolor print. We just have to see that happen. But I have to get some time to do that, and I have to knock out some more videos for my regular daily videos, because I've been working on this for like a week and a half now. So I gotta get back to that. But thank you everyone again. We will see you shortly. Next week, Fun in the Country Basement will be back. That is a group chat. If you don't know what it is, that is a chat every week. We do every Sunday at 4 o'clock Eastern, where we trade around channels. Me, Glenn from Fun King 3D, and Walter from Country 3D. We trade channels. We hang out, talk for a couple hours about 3D printing on Sundays. You can check out funcountrybasement.com. I will leave a link in the description of this one. Come check it out. But we do that every week, in which we should be returning after the holiday break next weekend. So thank you all again, and we will see you soon.